So hello, everyone.
Hey,
Welcome to After Church Tea Time. I'm Michaela.
I'm Jose.
And we're here with Jenny and Sandra to discuss this week's After Church Tea Time, Sunday sermon by Jason and Chrissy about building your legacy. And for us, this was a really good topic because it's things that we're working on. I think many people are going through something similar when it comes to balance, because balance in our work is not really something that you're taught growing up in the world. Like Chrissy mentioned that in the sermon, like the world doesn't really teach you to put boundaries on your energy. Like you can just give and give and give, and then you end up getting burnt out, which Jason mentioned, like having to rest a lot. So I really enjoyed this sermon, and by giving all that you're called to give, like you don't have to do more than that. Like it doesn't have to be a struggle, that's what we've noticed. Like life purpose it fills you with energy, and it allows you to build a legacy. It allows you to actually reach people and touch people and love them and help them transform their lives when you're and you're giving yourself that love. So yeah, I love this sermon.
I agree with you, because the world doesn't want you to put boundaries. They'll just take and take and take. And we got to remember to have our boundaries. It's so important, because you want to feel good, you want to give, you want to love people, but you want to do it balanced so that you're happy too, and that you feel good and loved.
Yeah, that's true. If you don't feel good, then like the people you're trying to help can't really feel good either.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially to this place of what's coming to mind for me is this 20-year data career that I had as in IT, and there were parts of it that I really loved that really fed my brain and my logical piece. But it was also this system of really giving everything that you have that was designed to push people to their edge and over their edge. And I just remember it was like it was a point of pride for the organizations to be like, we build champions literally through abuse and through pushing people past their limits, through the act of draining people, and see who stays, who survives, who can take that. And I love that all of that experience can still move forward in a purpose, and that it will catch up to you, and that's okay. Like it took me, once I reached my limit, it's taken me almost 3 years to get to a place where I can move forward in a true purpose and move forward from a place that is beginning to feel full again. And it's exactly the teaching. It's exactly the point of the sermon, is to find that balance. And I just want to add from my experience that it's okay to take what it needs to take to go into that balance, to explore what that balance feels like.
Yeah, that's pretty good. We resonate a lot with having balance, and this is something that we are moving through recently. And I have been having some experiences where I got to experience, the way that people are used to work and used to do things. And I resonated a lot with Chrissy when she said about seeing people being like so burnt out and ready to retire and ready to, not really enjoying what they are doing. And I put that against what Jeff and Sally are teaching about balance, and I saw a huge difference. So basically what I got this week is an experience at my university, and I got to see some people working in their workplaces, and they were chemical people, like they were working in their workplace, and I got to kind of do like an interview to see how are they feeling about their workplace, about their work conditions. And there is something common that everyone almost said, is that they were uncomfortable, they were pushed to the limit, they were very like pressured, they were exhausted, all of them looked very tired, they were like wanting to leave. And I was like, wow, this is very like draining. but it can be something very beautiful too if you put balance, if you like support yourself. And this is what Shaleia teaches in like purpose class. It's about always investing back in yourself, always supporting yourself to give more. If not, you are going to end giving from your emotional energy, and that feels very bad, feels very draining. You get tired, you get sick if you go cross the line. So it's very important to, yeah, like do it properly.
Value yourself and your energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've also given so much of myself to with other people. I was married and I took care of my late husband's mother. I took care of my late husband's father, and I took care of my late husband, but it was not balanced. I was just giving and giving and giving, and I wasn't investing into me. And it's really important that you live life balanced and that you have boundaries and that you do take good care of yourself. That's something I've had to do, is live my life balanced. And in fact, when I first met my twin flame, he says something to me about it. He says, "Why are you doing this? Why are you giving so much of your energy away and not taking better care of you?" My twin flame told me this. So yeah, I am doing the best that I can right now. And in our community, we have a beautiful community, and it's so important that we continuously love and encourage everybody, because we do need the love and we do need the encouragement to keep loving ourselves and living in balance. It's important.
I agree. And I like something that Chrissy shared at the beginning of this sermon was about how you don't get to decide what your legacy is. You know, like you don't really get to choose. It's probably going to be something, completely opposite of what you thought. And we've experienced this. Like, you thought you were going to be an engineer and you had your whole life planned. And then we came together and that was like wiped off the table, And the same for me, like in all kinds of ways. Like I feel like we just, and this is what everyone in this community I feel has done, is you're just being yourself, you're just living your life and you're following God, and he shows you what you're meant to do. And like it's
your purpose find you.
Your purpose chooses you, basically, and that's a good thing. And it's cool,
I remember for me, before like starting to really live or like purpose, I didn't see myself doing what we do now at all. And it's because the way that I was perceiving myself and seeing myself, I couldn't imagine living a different life than that. And I guess like that is normal for everyone. The more that you heal and the more that you get to know yourself, it's like, wow, I'm actually calling this direction and I will go in this way and do these things. And God starts to show you like the impact that you can have. Like, hey, I want you to love here. I want you to do this. I want you to change that. And it's like, okay, good. And maybe at the beginning there is some resistance because it's new, it's like maybe scary, but if you move through it and you're just like, this is my thing, you claim it and you really grow and start having so much joy in your life and so much peace because you know that you are fulfilled. And in my case, I thought I would be fulfilled doing what I wanted to do. Looking back now, I wouldn't,
And you're getting that contrast now, like Jose is finishing his last semester of university, and we haven't gone outside of our bubble in the last 2 years since we've been together, just like living our purpose. And you're getting that contrast that Chrissy was talking about being like the bubbly one in the room or the happy one. And everyone's upset,
Yeah, it is totally different.
Because of the work.
Yeah, you can feel the difference when you apply this work in your life. You're like more like happy. It's like, I remember Jeff in one of our classes said how your mind is in a different place and you are like, you're with God and you are everywhere with God. And that is a very different state than, everyone around you. And that influenced people, that changed people. I had like some very nice experiences where I helped someone and they were like very grateful and very like nice, just like being me and sharing like just peace with others, like the peace that you achieve with this work is very grounding, very nice, and it's totally different on what other people tell you, because I noticed that everyone is trying to grow, like you said before, by punishment or by abuse or pressing you or like doing more stuff, and it doesn't work. It works for a while maybe, but then you go down, you don't have more to give.
It can be eternal.
Yeah, it can be eternal. And I realized that after applying this work for years, the amount of energy that we have is ridiculous compared to where we started. It has grown a lot and it's so different. And it's by that you can grow more and you can work more. It's not by pushing yourself more or by punishing or abusing yourself. It doesn't serve you. It's by loving you. And if you feel loved, if you feel supported, you are going to want to work. Like it's going to be natural to give the effort. And that is the thing that feels so good about life purpose. It's natural, it's easy, peaceful. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's that shift from the motive. It's a shift into a purpose, into a career, into a life work that's truly centered in love. It's truly built on love and full of love. That's all about love in any way that feels like you're calling to deliver that love. And I love how, they opened up with defining the legacy is the way that you've loved, how you've touched people, the love that people have walked away with after having their interaction with you, from you giving your gift. And that gift is always some form of love. And I feel like that's what allows this whole thing to be able to give us more energy, because it's at the base principles, it's an interaction of giving and receiving love. And love only grows. The more you feed it, the more you put your attention on it, the more it expands. And I feel like that's the ascension process. And that is how the whole life purpose grows as well. It's a means of delivering love and growing and expanding it together. Just like Chrissy and Jay's garden. You can do it in any different activity, but it's all, growing the love within ourselves and growing the love within each other in the lives that we touch, and the lives then that they touch, and the lives that, we all bring forth in each other.
I do remember Jeff in one of the live classes, he said that where you are right now, whatever it is that you're experiencing right now, that's a part of your life purpose, and you have to just love it and just keep loving it and keep loving it. And God will unfold and help you to get to the next part or to the next piece of where you have to go. But love is the key to constantly just keep giving and loving.
Yeah. Something that I noticed, and I think Jason and Chrissy touched on, is like, and Jeff has mentioned this in classes, like, as you just like, I feel like in the beginning, you're just motivated by healing, and like not wanting to feel bad anymore. And that leads you to all of these other things, like for us, I didn't like, before we came into harmonious union, like all of the challenges that I went through, like I didn't really know that they were going to lead me to my harmonious union, to my life purpose, like that wasn't, I was just doing the work, and like just resolving some of these really big issues within myself. And it naturally led to discovering like our deeper purpose, and like having more of an impact and kind of growing in that way. And I didn't, like, for me personally, I didn't do it on purpose. Like I didn't have like, oh, I'm going to become, an ascension coach and I'm going to do all these things, like that was not my goal. Like I just wanted to really, it was union with God, like that's the purpose of the whole thing. At the end of the day, I just wanted to heal my consciousness and ascend, and I was following the work, and sometimes the work will take you to scary places within, but like when you follow that path, it will lead you naturally to uncovering your legacy and like your twin flame. That's why it's so important to have a lot of faith and know that there's, like you said, Sandra, like there's a reason you're going through what you're going through right now. It's perfect for you, and it's perfect for your purpose.
Yeah. And it can look very scary sometimes, but when you move through it, everything starts to fall into place, and that is the best feeling ever. Like your life is starting to fall into place, these problems are starting to resolve, like
Things change.
things change, and your life is more and more stable. Every step is more like joyful, more full of peace, and it's totally worth it to take the effort. And yeah, your legacy is natural result of that, because you are just having a good time, and you get into the process and ascend, and naturally you are going to share that. You are going to want to share that with others naturally. And you never know how many people are receiving it. And this is something that I loved about the sermon today, that part where they spoke about your legacy is the lives of the people that you touched. And yeah, it's true. Like, you never know how many people are changing by you. Like, even the little gesture of love that you have with someone, you don't know how much you're affecting that person. Maybe that they just needed that to do something. Like, it can be so little for you, but so big for someone. And that's so beautiful when someone tells you, like, oh my God, I'm so grateful for this. Thank you for this. It's like, I want to do more of that. It's like, let me continue. That's what really pays off. Like, it's like, so nice. I'm doing a change. I'm helping here and doing my part.
Making like a positive impact.
Yeah, making like a positive impact, and that is very beautiful.
I love that. And it's that piece of, not knowing how you affect someone, not knowing, what your true purpose and legacy is going to end up being. I feel like that's what makes it so important to explore what comes into your life, what desires, what hobbies. And Chrissy and Jay spoke to this too. If there is a crack open in a door, take it and see what it has for you. See what love is there, see what you have to discover, what joy that you can bring to yourself and discover about yourself and your purpose. And in that exploration of not being afraid to go into things that I've never done before, or things that you've never experienced, and just I feel like it's that letting ourselves be open to really seeing what God has for us to be and do and become and share.
As long as we love, we may not always know how things are going to turn out, but as long as we love, we're not in control, but just continue loving. God will carry you through to the next piece. You're not always supposed to be in control. God's in control, but you're always going to be safe and feel fine if you always love and trust God. And then God will give you the next piece.
Yeah, I agree. And it's important when you are, choosing to live your purpose and walk the ascension path. I think service is a huge, lesson, like being in service to others and sharing the gifts that you receive, because they're not just for you.
Yeah.
And that, you just have to you have to be willing to release control. And it reminds me of, there's a class where Jeff says he didn't see himself as a twin flame teacher, he thought he was going to be a businessman, and he did get into spirituality, and he was, just following his heart, and God showed him. And Jeff and Shaleia also say, in classes, that they tried to move away from twin flames at one point, but it didn't work for them. So they just surrendered, and they chose to move forward with God. And thank God that they did. That's why it's so important to just listen to God. You have no idea where God is guiding you, or what He's gonna, what his plan is. Yeah,
there's always something for your happiness. Even when you resist it or are doubting it, you can trust that you're going to be happy, and maybe you have some challenges to move through, or some fears coming up, but if you follow it to the end, you're going to find joy, and you're going to be very happy with the result. And that's it. Just following the path, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. Having faith that it will lead you to your joy and your happiness. And I feel like also having faith that everything you've been through prepares you for what you have to go through now. And it's really that trust that we're always held, and that God has us, and that God is always guiding us, and that we when we listen to God, when we listen to those desires he puts in our heart, when we listen to where our purpose is taking us or where the exploration is taking us, then we can't go wrong, because we are guided, and that it will lead to wherever God has for us.
Yeah, and that it's okay to make mistakes and like take missteps, and just learn. It's safe to do that. And yeah, like I feel like for us in this whole lesson that Jason and Chrissy talked about today, at the beginning of our journey, like a big lesson we were learning is how to have a strong work ethic, like get in there and just work. And then now I feel like we're coming around to a new lesson where it's like, it's not supposed to feel bad. You're not supposed to push yourself too hard. You're supposed to feel really good. Mm-hmm. Like if you're already working as hard as you can't work harder. That's not the answer. It's to I feel like deepen and increase your value, like Jason and Chrissy said, so you have more time, like you're getting deeper value. So we've learned that a lot lately. Like we're starting to really make investments into our home and change things around and invest more into ourselves so we can increase our value. And learning to value ourselves more, and so much more energy has been returning to us because of this, and it's been a good lesson for us. I ended up manifesting getting a cold, and when that happened, I was like, okay, this is something to look at, and God didn't create you to be a cog, the way that work jobs, 9-to-5 jobs kind of teach you to be. God, you're a person and a being, and the purpose of all that you're doing is for joy. And
I guess we move through this of overgiving to the thing that Chrissy mentioned in the service. And we realized that it was draining us, and like Jason said, you give a lot and you maybe get upset because you don't receive imbalance. And it's not because you are it's because you are giving too much.
It's because you're not valuing
Exactly,
yourself.
it's because you are not valuing yourself and you are giving something very valuable, it's not, I guess. And that feels very bad. And when you start valuing that and you start valuing everything that you have in your life and what you can offer, it feels very good, it feels very balanced, it's a healthy relationship with giving and receiving. Your life is supposed to feel very light and alive, and you want to do more, but you also do it in a balanced way. You don't want to give more and give more and give more. You give more and you rest. You get in that flow, and that feels very good. And this is something that we are healing now and improving, and it feels very good to balance everything during your day. And you can do so much more in less time. You can provide so much more value, and you have more time, like I mentioned. This is something that for me at the beginning, I couldn't picture it. You have more time the more you work. It's yes, you do. It's like magic, but it's very cool to see it happening, and very nice to see that the more you eat in a balanced way, the more your life starts to blossom and everything starts to stabilize. Just so nice. And it's totally worth it.
Yeah, it's the more you honor yourself, the more you're able to honor your purpose and honor the gift and honor the giving of that. Yeah. And amazing, you get the more capacity to do more as well.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like a magic formula.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, which I feel like is definitely makes sense of how, love expands.
I notice people know when you're loving yourself and you're taking care of yourself and paying attention to yourself. When you go about in your day-to-day business, wherever you go, what errands you run, they know, they have this feeling, they can feel it, that you're loving yourself and taking care of yourself. And eventually they'll want some of that too.
True. Yeah. Live by example.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Yeah, because, love is contagious. It feels good, and then more people want it, and you want more yourself. Yeah. And then all of the things that you're asked to do in service of that becomes fun. It's yeah, back to the point that Jay and Chrissy made about taking the action.
Mhm.
And it becomes easy and fun and joyful to do the work when you are receiving the love back, when you're receiving the impact, when you're get that awareness. Like maybe we're not all aware of all of the ways, but God makes sure that we are aware enough that to keep that faith, and part of that faith is recognizing the ways that we do have impact and honoring ourselves in that, and that we do have impact.
Yeah, and the more that you just walk the path and you heal yourself and clear your blocks, the more power you step into, because it takes power to help someone, to help them heal. And Jeff has said that before, like it takes a lot of power to sit with someone and help them through their challenges, and you accumulate that power and that energy. And like for us, I feel like we're always growing in our power. Like for the last 6 months, I've been feeling that like a lot of blocks coming up in my solar plexus. And it's like this like constant like pushing to grow there. But we got like a really cool experience of how much we have grown in power with Jose going back to university, where he was like, wow, I have so much more energy than I used to. Like when he started, he could barely get through all the things, but now he's doing like full-time university, full-time life purpose work, like tons of stuff. Like he's really active. So we're learning how to balance that, but like you have so much more energy than you used to because of all this work that you're doing. And like,
it feels so much easier.
Yeah, it's like, and I feel like in the beginning, I had less energy too. And sometimes you don't really appreciate how much you've grown until you look back a little bit and you reflect, or you go back to a place that you used to be, like the university for you. But yeah, like you really do grow and change, and increase in your power the more that you align with God, because, God is the source of power and your impact grows. Yeah.
And what I'm coming to realize is that holding on to all of these blocks takes a lot of energy, and that healing them when they come up, as they arise, putting that off takes a tremendous amount of energy, and healing it when it comes brings you so much more energy. Yeah, so that's an important part of me for managing my energy at the moment, is learning how to face things when they come up instead of putting them off, and really being present with what's being shown to me, and asking God to show me, and asking God to help me understand what this means and what is it showing in myself so that I can heal it, and then making that choice to stay present with the healing.
I agree with you, Jenny. The more I volunteer, like some stuff in the past would be really hard. The energy would be really heavy. There'd be a lot of blocks. Things would feel impossible to get through. But I'm getting through stuff. It's getting easier the more I volunteer. I don't understand it. It's just better. It's just a whole lot better.
Yeah, like things improve. That's what we've been learning. Like you don't, like when you do this work, like things do change, like you don't just, like life is not hell. Like you don't just go through the same thing over and over again. As you're choosing to change, like it does get better, and you do get happier and lighter and stronger, and life improves.
Yeah, sometimes it's important to appreciate it, because sometimes you can get like lost into like the process, and like doing more and doing more and doing more. It's like also take a look about at everything that is changing around you. Like that is very important. Like for me, when I came back, I realized, wow, like we really have grown these years. We have really changed, and that encourages you to really continue doing the work. And like Jeff and Shaleia said, like so good and carry water all the time, and continue doing that. But with appreciation and gratitude, and it feels so good to continue doing the work. It's very, very nice and very easy.
Yeah, and the more we do the work, the more comfortable in it we get, and the more confident, and the more faith that builds, and it just builds on top of itself. and snowballs into this mastery and this, you know, solidity of faith, you know, that again just begets more and grows more love and more beauty and more appreciation of the beauty that's been there the whole time.
And for me, I feel like the more that I do this work, the more like passionate about it I become. Like the more that you heal, even though you know it's not always easy to face the really deep stuff. Like you start to build a confidence in yourself because you know you're going to get through it and you're going to feel so much better, you know. And it's almost like you really start to enjoy the process and not like take it so seriously or get so overwhelmed. Like I used to get really derailed by upsets, you know. And when I first started this, like it was like I didn't want to be upset, and I'm not like happy with upsets still, but like I don't get derailed by them. Like I don't shy away from the feelings as much as I used to. And like it's like you always know that the more you allow yourself to feel your feelings, like you're gonna move through them and you're gonna heal.
Yeah, and you realize that even when you are in the middle of the worst fear or challenge or something, it's like it's difficult sometimes, but a part of you is very chill. It's like, another one, you know, let's move through it. It will pass. We had this conversation the other day when we looked back at some of the biggest challenges that we moved in the last 2 years. And after a while, we realized we were scared. Like we were having a bad time, but we were actually cheating in a way. We were like, it will pass, but got us here. It's going to move. It's going to be good at the end. There is something that Jeff shared with us today in a class. Like it's not that bad. It looks very like bad, but it's not. When you look back, it's the process, and you are healing. So it is a very good thing, and God is in charge. So you can relax.
Yeah. Whenever I look back on a big challenge, all I see is like how beautiful it was, you know, and how much I was like totally safe the whole time. Even though when you're going through it, you don't feel always so safe, you know, but you are, and you look back and there's not a single challenge that I've ever gone through that I'm like, I feel like it was like, oh, that was bad. Like I just feel gratitude and like I see the beauty in it. And Jeff says that in classes.
Yeah. And for me, I also tend to look back and see the humor in it too. And it helps me see the humor. I'm like, oh, this is happening again. Okay, God, I gotcha. Here's my lesson. I'm going to do it. I'm going to learn it. And that helps me bring joy into it too, to where the healing actually feels joyful because I don't take it so seriously to the point of like, oh my God, my life is ending. I take it seriously like, oh my God, here's the next thing. Okay, all right, let's do this.
I mean, that's how you learn to have an eternal relationship with this work, you know, and you create a legacy that is eternal. Is you have like a relationship with the work that supports you indefinitely, and you're not taking from yourself. And that's something that I also comes up, like Jason and Chrissy talked about, like really getting clear on all of your relationships, you know, making sure like it's basically having presence in your life. Like everything should feel good, you know. That's the teaching is like you work through all of the problems in your life and you resolve the problems, you know, until you have perfect union with God. And so like just having presence with, you know, your relationships with certain people or activities or everything basically. Like it should be balanced. And it starts with really loving and valuing yourself first, not treating yourself like a cog or a machine. You know, you're not a machine, you're a person, and you require like nurturing and investing into.
It's a really good support group. More people need to be loved and supported so that they know they're not a cog and that they are human, and it's okay and safe to feel loved.
Yeah. And it's just so beautiful then when you get to turn around and share that
Yeah.
Like when you've done your healing and you've found, especially in coaching, you are literally holding someone's heart while they're healing themselves, and you're guiding and helping. And it's this beautiful feeling of like, wow, God has entrusted me with this moment.
Mm.
And these people, these souls, these, beautiful children of God, that to let me be a part of their ascension, helping them come into more love. And it's just a really beautiful process how it all comes back around, and perpetuates more.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the more you help someone, like whatever you're helping them with, it's for you too. And so you get to grow together. That's a cool formula. That's life purpose. And it's no one loses. Like that's something that Jeff and Shaleia teach, is like when you're living your purpose, everyone wins. Like there should, if someone is losing and you're gaining, like you're not really gaining anything. Yeah, like with God, all people benefit. And so that's that's the thing, like with life purpose, like you mentioned coaching, like when you're coaching someone and you're really doing it right, like you receive energy, like it doesn't take from you. You feel energized after. And maybe you do feel like, tired or whatever, but like in your heart, like you feel good, you feel like you received too.
Yeah. And that's very beautiful, something that the thing that you said, Jenny, about, God trusted me with this moment. And that is very beautiful. And it's like, I'm making God happy here. And if your heart is like, yes, you are, and it's like, wow, it's the best feeling ever. It's like satisfaction and fulfillment. And you want to do that, like always. Like you achieve, you strive for that level of perfection, of love. And you don't give less than that. Like you always want to really give, like really love fully, and this is something that teach you how to really love fully every person or situation or experience, and every time beautiful things happen as a result.
Yeah, and trust that things are always happening and changing as you're healing, even when it may not look like it for a little while. When you really go inside, you can always feel the shifts happening and coming, and at some point they show up in your reality too.
Yeah, I think Chrissy and Jason mentioned that, like you feel the shift when you level up. You feel that shift. You receive, it's like you go to a new vortex and you receive a more energy, like you really do. It's pretty cool. Yeah,
also like what they said about that shift from external to internal. Like I remember for me when I started, like the way that I was working and studying and everything was like very focused on everything and not in myself.
It was external.
It was like very external, just like getting things done and moving things, like what is going on here. But I realized like now we are mostly like inner. We are like all the time talking about our feelings and focusing on things and what is going on and what is the lesson here and what is that thing, and everything naturally falls into place and you take the actions, but you are very focused, like you are like constantly present with everything going on in your life. You are like constantly analyzing it and putting presence into it. And nothing escapes. It's very, very good, and you build more of that. And you're aware of everything in your life. It feels like taken care of. It feels very good when you have that level of presence and you relax into it. It's like, oh yeah, I'm aware of these things in my life. They are fine. And if not, I can fix them. I can heal them. And it's more stability. Feels very good to have that shift in consciousness.
Yes, I love that. Nothing escapes.
Yeah.
There's no escape.
Yeah, that's true. And you don't really want it to escape, because the one thing you don't address like comes back and blows up, so it's really important to have that presence.
Yeah, it is. Society isn't used to this, they're all doing everything in the external, but going internally is feeling really good, learning to be present.
Yeah, I remember Jeff said once that the level of presence you have is directly related to your quality of life. And I remember when he said that, I was like, I'm going to test that out. I choose to be present, completely present. And actually, it was when we were at our old apartment, like our version of the ghetto, it was like not a nice apartment, and we wanted to leave. And I was like, okay, so I'm just going to be present with how I feel about this apartment. because it was near the time that our lease was ending last summer.
It was awful.
And we were trying to find a new place. It didn't have air conditioning, so we were just like, it's a very challenging time for us in the middle of the Spanish summer. And yeah, I remember I was like, okay, I'm gonna test it out, and I choose to be fully present with what this apartment, like the lesson is, like how it makes me feel.
Mhm.
And then like literally miraculously we found this apartment that we're in, after I really healed, like we healed the core, I think, of our upsets of that apartment. And then
Yeah, we do care of everything.
Yeah.
Like, the more present we were, we started to really love some parts that we weren't loving before, and shift.
Yeah, big shift.
Yeah.
Totally. And that's what Jason and Chrissy shared is
Mhm.
and then you have to take that opportunity
Yeah, of
to move
course.
forward. Like for us, it was kind of scary to do that, but we did it. And every time we've ever taken a leap,
It works.
it
out.
works out very well, and this journey does require you to take a lot of leaps and take like risks, but every time you do, like you surrender more to God and you realize that it's actually God who's in control of your life. Like there is an intelligence, you're not ever going to get just abandoned.
Yeah, you're not like a bug in the air.
No,
Like,
yeah.
something is controlling your journey. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it doesn't have to be a leap. Like,
Right.
Mhm.
That's true. Yeah.
God only ever wants is good for you. He doesn't want to like be bad to you or hurt you. It's just we do this to ourselves. So open up to God.
Yeah. Amen.
Yep.
So do you guys have anything else you'd like to share? Or are you feeling complete?
yeah, that feels good to me.
Yeah, I feel complete.
Yeah, I feel complete. I feel like the moral of the story is have balance and give to yourself so that you can give eternally and enjoy.
Yeah, life is
Enjoy your
good.
life. Yeah.
Mhm.
Good. Well, thank you all so much for joining us for this week's After Church Tea Time, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.